Now I'm in this cycle, this wheel. Now I've gone to work and I got the paycheck. Now I pay the bill. Now, since I'm going to have the bill again the next month, I got to go to work and then I got to get the paycheck and then I got to pay the bill. And then I got to go to work so I can get the paycheck so I can pay the bill. You settled for just a wife and kids and a regular job. With who you are, with what I know about you, you should be doing a lot more than just that. There's nothing that's driving them to get up and actually go do and live a life worth living.
What drives that desire to get up every morning?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. Rodney, how you doing?
I am good. I'm good. Hey, we back at it again. And Mike, it seems like the three of us can't get together to save our lives, but we will be back as three soon.
We're going to find a way. Some way, somehow. You mentioned something really interesting. You before we were just talking, you said, because we like to ideate some of these episodes and get into the conversation. And then you said something that was really interesting. It was, how do people make life worth living? Rodney, could you say that again?
What makes life worth living?
What makes life worth living?
Yeah. What makes you get up in the morning? Why is it important? I mean, we all want to wake up, of course, right? We want to have a new day. We want to live. But what drives that desire to get up every morning? What makes your life worth living? And just make sure people understand, we're not saying that life is not worth living. So everybody should live their life, okay? But what makes your life worth living?
The interesting thing about it when you said it though is, so I listened to this audio like maybe three times, 1 to 3 times a year. Okay. And it's from Earl Nightingale. And he says it's called, you can search this up on YouTube. It's called The Strangest Secret in the World. Okay. That's the name of it. And essentially, when he starts off the talk, one of the main things that he says in the beginning is that most people don't know why they get up in the morning. He said, if you ask, 100, if you go out on the street and ask 100 people, why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you go to work? That most of them won't have an answer for you. Most of them won't have a solid answer for you, or give you any sort of inclination of what they're doing other than just because it's what everybody else is doing, or just because they're, still breathing, just because they, they're married or they have kids. And those will be the reasons why that they'll give you for why they actually get up and do what they do. But where he was getting to, essentially, and you can watch it on YouTube, but essentially where he was getting to was just the fact that most people don't live with purpose. Like there's not a real reason, a concrete reason, a mission, a purpose, a destination, somewhere, something that they're trying to do, trying to move forward. There's nothing that's driving them to actually excite them to get up and actually go do and live a life worth living. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I listen to it regularly because it's so interesting and because he essentially is talking about like how we've got so much power up here in our mind. We've got so much, there's so much that we could do, but because people simply just don't think, we live far beneath our actual potential.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like that question of like, why do you wake up in the morning? Like what makes life worth living? I believe a part of that answer, now we're going to go into it, but it's living with a purpose.
Yes. No, definitely a purpose. And I think if we start out so people understand, I think it's when you said like you go out and talk to 100 people, the majority, if not all, will not have an answer for you. And I think that can be common because, I think about my younger self. I didn't really think about purpose per se. I thought about things I wanted. That I allowed the things to be the purpose in a sense. You know, I want to make money, which that'll probably pop up on people's radar. But you know, that's not a purpose. You know, but that's what would drive that. Hey, okay, I'm going to work to make money. Okay, well, we got to dive into that. Why you want to make money? You know, and then you keep going down that route. But purpose is not in any of that. It's just a desire to have something.
And then that's empty too, because it's like if I'm just going after, let's say I'm going to work to or pay for a car, then after I get the car, should life end at that point?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
like if I'm going to work just to pay the bills so that I can keep living in my home, now I'm in this cycle, this wheel
Hmm.
where okay, now I've gone to work, I got the paycheck, now I pay the bill. Now since I'm gonna have the bill again the next month, I gotta go to work and then I gotta get the paycheck and then I gotta pay the bill. And then I gotta go to work so I can get the paycheck so I can pay the bill.
Well, and isn't that? I mean, you know, you say that, and as you say it, but isn't that's the cycle though, right? A lot of
It's the
people go
cycle.
through, and that's why. And you said something as well too. It's empty because once you know you kind of like it's like eating chocolate. It tastes good when you eat it, but it really is not going to help your body or help you long term be healthy. You know, it's like you keep going back and doing it over and over again, and you get that up, and then you get that down, but you really don't get the long term impact of a healthy body or feeling healthy. You just kind of get a little surge, and then you down, up, down. I
Mhm.
mean, it's built in. You know,
Yeah.
when you think that way. Oh, well, when we actually said when we think that way, and that becomes so that's really not a purpose, right? That's just a I don't know what the term I use desire, but it's really maintenance, you know, in a sense.
You know, I've talked about this before, but it's been a while. And like this whole subject of like your, reason to wake up in the morning. One thing that I've kind of found out is like when I was doing a whole bunch of research. I told y'all we had a whole episode on purpose before. Did a whole bunch of research on like purpose, like how does the world find purpose, but also what more importantly, what does the Bible say about how to discover your purpose, and then live within it? Because for me, that is the most important thing that you can do, um, both other than actually living in it. Okay, so like before you understand your purpose, before you actually, have a direction to go in, I think the top priority is actually discovering it so that you can move in that direction. Because otherwise, I mean, we're chasing after the wind. Otherwise, we're just here. We just exist, and we weren't. I don't believe that we were created to just exist. You're here for a reason. And so like it took me on this journey and I started reading a bunch of books to kind of understand this. And one thing that I found is I picked up this book, it's called Ikigai, okay? It's from the Japanese, and it's a concept that they use to kind of define purpose. And so it
Right.
means like your reason for being. One thing that I thought was interesting about this book is like you know, the areas in the world where people live the longest are sometimes some of them are Japanese, like full Japanese areas. And so, but in those areas, they did a study of like, okay, what is it about these people who are living past 100 years old that makes it common in this area for these people to live for so long? What is it? Like they're talking to these people, they're studying their lives to kind of understand what this is. It something in the water? Like, is it their diet? Is it their exercise routine? Is it, they do this, Y, X, Y, and Z. And what they figured out was that the people who are living the longest in their mind have a reason to wake up in the morning. They've got something to do and they've got someone to care for.
They got
And
purpose.
because of that, they just keep on moving forward. Every day has a meaning. Every day they are getting an inch forward, an inch forward, an inch forward in the reason that they have for being alive. And I thought it was so interesting because it was like, if we're looking for a secret, now
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was a beautiful thing to really see. And there's a whole bunch deeper than that, but like just off of that, like Rodney, the people who live the longest in your life, what have you noticed?
Well, you kind of hit on it, and just reflecting back on what you said, they actually, to the point you made, they are intentional every day. They have something in mind that they feel they must do and need to do every day. You know, and it might not be a big thing, but they I won't say they have a job, because it's not a job. They have something they feel that they have to do or contribute to, or someone they need to pour into, I guess. And what I'm thinking about my father right now, right? So my father's 87, and my mom's, she passed away last year when she was 85. But one thing about each one of them is that they had something to do every day. Like, my mother would cook. She would, make stuff for people. She didn't have to, but that was, in a way, that was her ministry. That was her gift that she had. And that's how she would, help, whether it be someone who didn't have food, that was her mission in life, in a sense. Okay. My dad, he's always been one to help people, but the grandkids, getting them to school, doing, trying to teach them, so that has become, and it always has been, his purpose is to pour into his kids, really, if you might think about it. So what he does is to help keep that foundation together. So, whether it be him doing something around the house, going to pick them up from school, going to do this. So, and that's true for, I think, people who are older. I mean, you read about individuals who work until their 80s. They're not working because they have to. That's their reason for getting up in the morning, because they interact with other people. And when you talk to them, it's about the interaction with other people. It's about them, making a difference and trying to make a difference in the world.
And then that thing is that thing that they're doing. It's typically at the intersection between something that they are naturally gifted at, plus something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And then also too, something that they actually like.
Yeah.
And so when you get this mixture of things like that, you wake up and you don't have stress about what you're doing. You're not crying about going to work, because it gives you meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you said a key thing, Martell. I'm glad we're going there. It's like, it's using their gifts, their God-given gifts. Okay. And liking what they're doing. But that part of it is that, and then this is, you guys knew this was coming. God gives us our purpose. And basically, he gives us the gifts to realize our purpose. So our gifts, to me, is like a window into what God made us to do and be. The goal is to try to figure out how he wants us to use those gifts to move his mission forward, right? And I believe that's, and I use a singer as a good example. God can give you the voice to sing, but you might think singing for you might be having a career, doing singing in the world in a way where it's just gonna put money in your pocket. You follow me? Versus you singing to please God, whatever that may be, that still can put money in your pocket, but your purpose is around getting money and not pleasing God. So, you got the gift. The question is, are we using it the way God wants us to use it? I think is important.
One thing about, so just looking at the flip side a little bit here, one thing that I've always, I forgot when it actually hit me, but I believe it was sometime in high school. But there was a point in time where I'm like, I just looked at what was around me. Okay. I just looked at what was regular, what was normal, what was average. And man, inside of me, it just bothered me. It just bothered me to see like the traditional life path. And like the traditional life path, it just seemed like it was just empty a lot of times when you'd have conversations with people talking about like, everybody, when people introduce themselves, everybody's talking about, what they do. And everybody talks about like, oh, how many kids they have, or,
Mhm.
that they're married or whatever. And it's like, those are great things, amazing things. But then when I would dive into like what their life looks like, what they do and everything, and it's like not a judgmental type of situation, but like I always felt like, man, with who you are, with what I know about you, I feel like you're not doing, I
Mhm.
feel like God has more for you
Yeah.
than to just go to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
no,
and I hope that it's received the right way by the people listening, but it's like, there's so many people that you speak to, who are like crazy smart, crazy gifted, crazy talented, or crazy, when you figure out what somebody's gifted, something that, and let's break this down a little bit, because I think there's some people out there who you can be like, well, I don't have a gift, I just do X, Y, and Z. I'm pretty regular. But it's like, no, everybody has a gift. And
Mhm.
when you're doing, when it's a gift, when it's that thing that you do, and naturally, you just so happen to, it just clicks for you faster.
Sure.
You just
Yeah.
happen to be a little bit better than everybody else at the
Mhm.
start. It's
Mhm.
that thing where you have to realize that, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't come naturally to everybody else. Why
Yeah.
is everybody
Mhm.
else so bad at this thing?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's an inclination that this might be a gift that you are supposed to be developing.
No,
And
no.
so it's like when you see that in somebody else and you like, man, you settled for just a wife and kids and a regular job. And
Mhm.
I knew, and it's not because that's a bad thing. It's because it's clear to me. It's clear. And it's usually amongst everybody around you too, that you should be doing a lot more than just that.
Well, let's I mean, I get that your point's right on. Let's think about why that's so.
Hmm.
Because I think when we talk about having a reason to get up every morning, it really is focused on having a purpose. Living in your purpose requires stretching yourself. And what I mean by that is like using the example you use. There's an individual with great gifts, and they might even know that they're special or they got gifts, in a certain area, but they either ignore them or don't grow them. And it really takes stepping out of yourself to actually live in your purpose, because our purpose is much bigger than we are, I guess is what I'm getting at. Our purpose is bigger than what we can see. And going back to how God kind of, defines, at least for us as Christians, our purpose. It's like if, if I got the gift to leading, in a one area over here and just staying in that area is not what God got for me. It's like, no, he got other areas in life he wants me to lead in, and I got to trust him to live in that purpose. I can't just be comfortable in this one little area and just stay here forever. And that's because that's the thing about like having a purpose, getting up every morning. You know, it cannot be a routine. It has to be fresh and new. You have to be going after something new and growing, I guess is what I'm getting at. That's a long way to,
Growth.
yeah.
No, growth. I believe growth is the key. I believe growth is the key, because the reality is like let's just, okay, because for the person who's out there thinking, oh, just something to do, I've got something to do every day, right? I got
Mhm.
to wake up. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. But it's like the fact that there's not a meaning behind the things that you have to do. And also, too, there's no sense of growth in the things that you have to do. If you're staying on this wheel, doing the same things over and over again, never getting better, never getting smarter, never getting more loving, never developing any sort of area, you're just busy.
Yeah.
You're not productive. But we were called to be productive. There's
Yes.
a difference.
It is. And even, we speak at it from a Christian viewpoint, but even if you and don't take this wrong way, everybody. Even if you are not a believer, the whole purpose-driven life still apply. You got individuals who might be great at a giving or philanthropy. That's their purpose, is to, let's say, help educate the world. So they strive to do that. They work, they get up every morning to do that. Unfortunately, you got people who have evil intentions, and their purpose is to, destroy the world, okay? Sadly. But the point is that each one of those individuals wake up every morning with a drive to do whatever that purpose is.
I like that. I appreciate that you went there, because for those people who, they ain't saved yet, we definitely have plenty of opportunities for you to do that.
Yeah.
But if you aren't saved yet, I highly encourage you to do that. But those who are not saved yet, those who kind of are from the outside looking in and kind of thinking, oh, okay, well, I don't believe in that, but I've got things to do on a regular basis, but for some reason I just don't feel like it's connecting. It's not what you say in my personal life. To that person, now I'm going to use an example here, but I'll just bear with me. Everybody always talks about how, shoot, the billionaire, how in the world, why would they continue to develop? Why would they continue to, they just must be super greedy. Now, there are some that are just really greedy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But if you speak to somebody who's made hundreds of millions of dollars, if you speak to someone who's making $500,000, $300,000, you can pay for pretty much everything that you really want to do, like on a regular basis. Like if you're talking about everybody's dream is, oh, well, I want to travel the world. You can do that on a $300,000 salary, $250,000 salary. I want to buy a nice car. You can go ahead and lease pretty much any car that you want at that point in time. I want to live in a nice, you can live in any nice house that you want to live in at that point, because you can pay the monthly bill. I want to do this. I want to be able to provide this, and those things are all accomplished without $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we've got that figured out, why is the person who has 100 million going after 200, 400, $1 billion? And why is the billionaire trying to go for multiple billions? If you speak to this person, and let me just be real with you, I've spoken to multiple. One thing that you find common is it's not necessarily, oh, I just want more money so that I can do something. It's more so, it's an internal drive to continue to develop the thing that they've been building. Okay. And so they built a business, they built an organization that allowed, that got to the point where they broke through the glass ceiling and they were able to achieve the 7-figure mark. And now it's just more so, it's a game at this point. All right, can we get to 10? Okay, can we get to 100? Okay, can we get to 500,000? Okay, can we get to 750,000?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily, oh, because I just want to buy a nice car. You were able to buy that car 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Come on. But it's an eagerness to continue to develop, to continue to move forward, to be productive in the thing that they're doing. Now let's take it to the person who isn't gifted in terms of business, organization, isn't gifted in sort of marketing, sales, or anything like that. But you're the person who I used this gift the other day. I'm gonna use it again simply because people always think, when you talk about gifts, they're always thinking about singing. They're always talking about, super speed, like in athletics. They're always talking about physical things. But God's gifts are the things that are inside of you, and everybody has them. Everybody just automatically thinks about the obvious ones, like if somebody can sing, right? But if you're the person who, when somebody looks sad, you walk up to them, and when you put your arm around them and you have that conversation, it's consistent that the response is, man, he or she said the right thing at the right time. Man, if they did not come and help me at that point, if they didn't come and wrap their arm around me at that point in time, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know where I would be without that person. If you're that person and you're the one that we need to, if somebody's family is in the hospital, we need to be sending you. That's a gift. That's a gift. Stop thinking. Stop. Please, oh, please, oh, please. Stop minimizing your purpose, your reason for being alive, just because we're looking at somebody else's billboard gift, thinking that, oh, well, because I don't have that, therefore I'm not valuable. What you do, what you do is so important because every part of it, every gift is necessary.
No, it is. I think that was well said, and I like, because we get to that point to kind of knit all this together, and you hit it. I mean, we talked around it. You talked directly at it a moment ago. To understand your purpose starts with understanding your gifts, and Martell, like you stated, it's not always those things that we consider, the outward things where people get glory for being a great athlete. But the example you gave of that person who can, talk to someone and make them feel better. When people walk away from that person, they feel like, I'm glad I talked to so-and-so. That helped me. That is indeed a gift, because everybody don't have it. Some people have a gift to put a smile on people's face, okay? And to bring joy in someone's life. And I think that stuff gets minimized, but people who have it, you need to understand, hey, that's your gift. Maybe you're quiet. Maybe you don't talk. Maybe you love to write, okay? And that's your gift as a writer. And another thing too about your gift, you can develop other parts of your gift, or a new gift that you didn't have. You can develop new things. You're not just stuck with what you have, is what I'm getting at. You interact with other people. When you work in your purpose, you actually will find that you have other gifts you didn't even think you had, that you can develop.
I heard an amazing quote the other day at a Bible study, and it said, "Don't let the size of your assignment dictate the significance of your impact." Don't let the size of your assignment dictate the significance of your impact. I was talking about productivity, okay? I related it to the billionaire, the person who's going after so much and everybody's confused about why they're continuing to move forward. And then I also related it to I've then communicated that gift of the person who's that comforter, who's that natural born comforter who can console somebody. What you don't realize with that gift that you have, if you're being productive in it, you start to develop this gift because it's natural to you. But when you develop it, you can do more. You can be used for more. So when you develop that gift, now you know how to walk up to somebody and with a word, you can change their mood. Yeah. Now, when you go into a room, you can say, "Come all who are hurt. We got something for you."
Yeah.
And you can help out that whole situation. But if you never develop it, if you never have a sense of urgency in moving forward in it, then what you'll do is you'll stay, you'll be the friend who everybody wants to talk to when they're sad. That's great. And please keep doing that. But if you develop it a little bit more, God can use you to do much greater things.
Definitely.
Uh-oh, I think Rodney froze. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what just happened with Rodney, but I certainly hope we are at that time of the episode. And so if he jumps back in, then I definitely want to hear his last thoughts here. But I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Today for Tomorrow podcast. It is absolutely a pleasure making these episodes and putting out this content. But I really do hope that if you heard anything in this episode that you felt like, "Oh man, that's me," or "Oh man, I haven't found my purpose," or "Oh man, I just wake up for no real reason. I just wake up because I got to go to work." If you feel like you're in that position, I want to encourage you to really dig into the word, and find a community where they are actually living within their purpose in Christ. Okay? And so and I also mentioned this earlier, so I just want to make sure that it's available. If you have not given your life to Christ and you are a person who wants to be saved, you want to, you want to say, well, shoot, I want to get on the Jesus team, and I want to actually start the process of kind of understanding my purpose, my reason for being alive, and understanding my assignment that God put me on this earth to do. I want you to bow your head and close your eyes, but I want you to repeat after me. I want you to say, "Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for this day. Lord, I confess with my mouth that you are Lord. I want you to be the master of my life. Lord, I want you to give me your purpose for my life. Help me to understand it. Help me to develop myself in it. And help me to be the person that you've called me to be in this time. And Lord, I accept you as my Savior and as the master of my life, and I thank you for saving me now." I want to tell you that if you just said that for the first time, that you are now saved. If you believed it with your heart and you confessed it with me, then you have just gotten saved. And I am so glad that you were able to do it here on the Today for Tomorrow podcast. Before we wrap up, housekeeping items. Men 2.0. Every second Saturday of the month is from Freedom in Christ Ministry. I'm wearing the shirt right now. Next Level Manhood. It's a community group where iron is sharpening iron. It's a men's group where iron is sharpening iron, but we're not just talking to each other and having cool conversations, but there is a part of it. But we're also developing ourselves in the Word to become the men that God called us to be. And not only that, but we're also going out into the community. We've got Boys to Men, which is a part of Men 2.0, where the guys actually go out and mentor the young boys at Palmer Park Preparatory Academy. We've gone to their basketball games, and we just continuously develop and disciple these young men inside of the schools. Freedom in Christ Ministry every Sunday. If you're in Southfield, Michigan, 28202 Franklin Road, they've got a service. It's not a long service, but it's one where you're going to get the Word of God. Okay, it's on every Sunday, 11:30 Southfield. I gave you the address, 28202 Franklin Road. We want you to be there. Pastor Rodney is Pastor Rodney and Pastor Sherry Kemp. They lead it, and it's a great time. And so, thank you for tuning into the Today for Tomorrow podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I want you to go ahead and like it, share it with somebody else, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week. Peace.